Science projects put Wesley to sleep. Guinan has had multiple husbands, and Jack Crusher taught baseball to his son, Wesley. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 1. We finally did it. We are in Season 3. The episode is entitled Evolution, story by Michael Piller and Michael Wagner, teleplay by Michael Piller. This is directed by Weinrich Colby. This was September 23rd, 1989. Where were you and your Oakleys? How you doing today, Sirach?
Oakley's, huh? That's when they were popping. 1989. I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
Pretty darn good. I should get my hot pink fanny pack and really rock this episode out. Did you ever wear? Oh, you seem like the kind of guy who did have the cool
Yeah.
sunglasses in '89 and '90.
I had at that time I had the replica ones that were being sold on the street, the fake Oakleys, But I did have a pair of the fake Oakleys,
That's cool.
and I remember the fanny packs and the parachute pants. I didn't wear much of those, but I did
Yeah,
have my
yeah.
own little style.
Fanny packs was always a funny thing because here in America, everybody knows fanny means your bun, but most people wore the fanny pack in front, which would be more conducive to what fanny means in England or in the UK. They're like, see, that's the real fanny pack. With its if it's in the back, that's not. Anyway, so let's talk about this episode. Everybody, please make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for notifications. If you're listening in, give us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate it. And leave us a nice review. If it's a fun one, we will read it in the episode, and that's always cool. Remember, if you're watching, you can find the Seventh Rule wherever podcasts are found, and you can find the Seventh Rule 2 wherever podcasts are found. The Seventh Rule 2 covers all new Star Trek series. So check out the Seventh Rule and the number 2. All right. So, Sirach, we finally did it. We're into season 3. I know for 2 seasons we've been saying, oh, don't worry. Wait, it's going to get so good. You just wait. Season 3, the bomb's
Yeah,
going to drop and you're going to be wowed. What do
yeah.
you think so far?
Not wowed yet. Not, not wowed yet. Um, no, wasn't there for me the wow factor. Certain things that I did notice that I did like that were additions to the aesthetics, to the I don't know, there was a sense of change in the feel a little bit to me of what I was seeing visually.
Totally.
Uh, had a different upgraded feel to it. I almost felt like I saw a lens flare at some
Ooh.
point in the beginning. Like it looked like a lens flare type effect with Geordi in the beginning of the episode. Uh,
Yeah, I noticed a ton of changes, but that I was specifically looking for them. They were a little bit more subtle. The first one being in like the second scene, I noticed that Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge had an additional pip. He went from
okay,
Lieutenant Junior grade in the first season to Lieutenant in the first episode of the second season. Remember, Geordi and Worf both were bumped up to lieutenant. There are a couple other changes. Then we also had Pulaski, a bunch of stuff in the first episode of the second season. Then in the
yeah,
third season, Geordi's saying something. You see, there's a third pip on his neck. And we're like, damn, this guy is moving up gangbusters. And it got me thinking, is he the fastest rising officer that we've seen in Star Trek? I can only think of 2 others that really moved up that quickly. There was Kirk in the Kelvin movies. He went from like a cadet and to an acting captain or something. I didn't get it. It made no sense to me in the 2009 Star Trek movie. He just kind of jumped up and then was acting captain and then all kinds of weird stuff. And then there's Michael Burnham in Discovery that went from enlisted or special agent or something like that in the first season or two, and then became first officer and then became captain also very quickly. But Geordi's chief engineer. So it's good that his rank is really, progressing. He's going to be captain next week.
I'm glad that whoever the powers that be made that adjustment, because when you look at it, and without, now that you've explained that to me, this man is responsible for pretty much the entire engine and electronic systems inside of the ship. And so anything going wrong goes to him. And for him to have a junior grade type of ranking on the most premier class ship with the best of the best people serving on it, child prodigies, Picard, you've got Riker, who could obviously has been offered a captainship at another place. So he's, they basically have two captains. It only makes sense that you would have one of the best, engineers assigned to that technologically advanced ship, right? I'm sure it has certain elements of it that are on the cusp of whatever the Federation's technology is.
It is a flagship of the fleet. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so officially. You would have, that's like, having your back end mechanic, the guy who just does the oil changes, working on the warp drive. No, I want the top guy whose name
he's not touching my warp drive.
That's what I'm saying. I need your top guy to look at this. This isn't just a small problem right here. So protect your warp drive. But yeah, I definitely think it makes sense. And that's just probably one of the structural things that comprehensively when, Michael Piller is looking at this show saying, okay, what are the things that make sense and what are the things that don't make sense? So that was one of the elements I picked up on right away is that there were elements that changed. For example, the emphasis on family was stronger in this episode than I think I can remember ever since, right? So Michael Piller comes in again and says, okay, the dynamic of family, the mother-son issue, I'm going to focus in on that with Wesley and Dr. Crusher, obviously bringing Dr. Crusher back and addressing that elephant in the room right away, making it actually a point of contention. These are kinds of things that I think show Michael Piller's writing style. He wants to make this show about family, about relationships, about, conversations, and he wants to call out the obvious things that are out there. Like there's a way of calling out obvious things that he does in this script that we don't see before. For example, the way Dr. Paul Stubbs says to Troy, hey, I don't want to be analyzed right now. Turn your x-ray vision off or whatever he calls it.
That was great. That was fun.
Right? I loved it. And it's a little bit of conflict, but it's also, a way to talk about people's skill sets in a different, by addressing it right away and calling out elephants in the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing, and yeah, Beverly Crusher, definitely got to talk about that because, for me, I'm always kind of jumping the gun on these little things that you notice, an extra pip here, but really the bigger things to notice was first thing was, wow, very vibrant exterior colors. Like just when showing the ship exterior and the planet, it looks amazing. Now, a lot of that has to be the remastering. Of course, that's the remastering of Next Generation. It was very noticeable, but it does make you wonder how vibrant the colors were back in 89. And remember, 89 did love the fluorescent colors and the vibrance. So there might have been like kind of a revamping of, the lighting and the colors. But the other thing is, by the way, everybody, if you want that awesome isolinear chip shirt that Sirach Lofton is wearing. You could get that at our Teespring store. Just click the link below. It'll say Spring, the seventh rule. Click on that, get your very own isolinear chip seventh rule shirt that has Aaron Eisenberg's birthday hidden in there. See if you can find it. So the other thing was Beverly Crusher's back. It was kind of sad that they didn't say anything about Pulaski. Remember in the second season when Beverly was gone, they said she's gone. She got a promotion to Starfleet Medical. Great. So we know what happened to her. We're happy for her. It's great. They didn't give Pulaski that kind of love. They didn't say anything like, oh, now she's chief medical officer, nothing. They're just like, they don't even mention her. But I wanted to ask you, we kind of knew what to expect, that she would be back, Beverly Crusher. But if you didn't know that, it was such a great reveal in 1989 that, he's talking to a lady with cropped hair, so you don't recognize her right away, at least if you don't know if that's going to be her. And then it turns around and there she is. Did you like that reveal? I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I like the reveal. She had a different kind of hairstyle, I guess, in this season. There's a level of intensity that she has, and I don't know, there's some kind of captivating thing when you see her. Gates has this thing that the camera picks up on when it, shows her, and I think she wears it very well. It's just like you're interested in knowing what's going on in behind that face, like the thoughts and when you see her, and there's an intrigue. So, and also she's so stylish and slender and graceful, and the way she wears her coat, reminds me of, obviously of that time period for me growing up, seeing my mom wearing her collar up and having just a certain look to that style, like sleeves rolled up with a
That's
collar up type
true.
of look.
With the windbreakers.
Yeah. So it was just like the style. And so she has the futuristic version of that. She actually started the scene kind of holding the collar a little bit a few times while she was talking to Picard. And just the way she was clutching the collar, I thought to myself, she's using it as a, kind of a scene crutch, but some kind of prop, I guess you would say. And just the like I said, the gravitas, the way she has this kind of aura about her, it's very interesting. It came right back on right away. There was letting go of any kind of animosity that I think that there would have, animosity that led to her not being on the show for that second season. However, contractually, they didn't reach an agreement or whatever personally was going on with her that she decided to step away during that second season. I didn't see a residual of that animosity or beef or whatever it was uh, reflected in her performance. She looked totally like, "Hey, I'm back," and it was almost like in the line when she tells Wesley, she's like, "You weren't there for me. Where were you this last year?" And she kind of stops, pauses, takes it in, and then she looks back at him and says, "But I'm here now." And that was what I felt about her performance. It was like, okay, but I'm here now. Like, yeah, I was gone. Yeah, there was problems there, and yeah, I may have caused the problem by not being around and having you now having a certain attachment to Dr. Pulaski, who's taken my place. But I'm here now, and I'm gonna own it. And I felt like that's what she did.
Yeah, it did seem like just a happy reunion. At least if it wasn't, they did a good job of making it seem like that. They gave her, the little musical cue, the nice um, the nice reveal, the nice backstory, the fact that the episode centered on her. They weren't like, she's going to have to work her way back up. We're going to give her like, yes, sir, no, sir, kind of boring ass roles with very little lines. They actually centered the first episode on her and her son and their relationship. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. You would think that if there was any residual effects, as you put it, they would kind of give her, background stories, at least for the first half season. But no, they went right into it. She did great. Wesley did great. It felt like it was just a happy remarriage there. Maybe it wasn't,
Yeah,
but that's what it looked like to the viewers, I would think.
it did. It did. The other thing I noticed right off the bat was, Wesley has grown up, and he's kind of went through this. He's either going through this, puberty time in his life that I remember going through myself. So I watched, for example, right away I noticed his voice was a couple octaves lower than it normally
Oh,
is.
really? He did look a little bit more adult, but you know what's
Yeah,
crazy though? There's only 2 months in between this first episode and the last episode of season two. Last episode of season two was July 15th, 89. This was September 23rd of 89, because that one, remember, got kind of pushed back. But he was not featured in the last episode or two, but he did look different and he sounded
yeah.
different. I didn't even notice he sounded different, but there was definitely a different feel. He seemed a little bit more adult. But yeah, I did kind of want to ask you, Sirach, because the theme was 17-year-olds shouldn't be working all the time. They should be having fun. They should be getting into trouble. And there's that really fun line of, when Crusher says, to Picard, when you were 17, he's like, I was getting in a lot more trouble than this kid is. And she's like, me too. And then that made me think of you. At 17, you're in the thick of things. You're in season 4 or 5 of Deep Space Nine. Was there any moments where you thought, I wish I was just fucking around a lot more? Just kind of jumping around, or was working fun enough to where you actually were able to enjoy yourself, or was there like a good work life balance to where you could have your fun and you could go to work, or what was that like?
Yeah, 17. I mean, I thought I was messing around a lot. That's what I was doing a lot. I mean, um, I wasn't like staying orderly and just going to my trailer and reading and going to school and just I was in the beginning, but then I would find that I could carve out time for myself in other ways, which is what I used to go set hopping around the Paramount backlot. So I did get into my little what I considered trouble, which is what she's alluding to is a safe kind of trouble, a natural kind of progressive trouble of dating and hanging out with friends on stoops of apartment buildings or houses or whatever, and just talking until late night. But um, so I did a lot of that stuff. I, you know, I thought the scene between Wesley and Dr. Crusher, where she does confront him and he doesn't want to talk with her about certain things that he's going through.
Yeah.
She's like, well, just tell me, I can help you. I thought that was a very good scene, kind of indicative of those moments when, both from the kid perspective and from the adult now perspective where I'm at, where, there is that miniature conflict where it's like, I don't want to tell you, I'm going to make it hard for you or whatever, this conflict that happens between uh, naturally at some point between parent and child. So I thought that was a well performed because he didn't seem mad or vengeful.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was just more like, let me deal with this on my own, mom. I don't want your help. I got into this. I can get out of it. That kind of you know, stay out of my way type of mentality.
Yeah.
So that was normal.
Did you notice that he had his own quarters? They were talking about Wesley's quarters. I'm like, damn,
Yeah,
this guy's 17 and he gets his own place. Now remember, in a place without money,
yeah,
it's not like you say, all right, you get a job, you move out, you get your own place. It's like if money's not an issue, are kids moving out sooner? Are they like 13 and they're like, whenever they're just ready, they're like, hey, I'm going to put in a request for the captain for the quarters over there, and then the parents are like, okay, just make sure your quarters are kind of close to ours. And like, and then at what age? Or is it because at 16, his mom left, he got his own quarters, or maybe he got his old quarters, and then she moved back and they're like, close enough, get your own quarters. He's at practically 18, but I think that maybe some of it might just be if money's not an issue and the kid says, I want to live on my own at 14 or whatever, and the parents are okay with it and the captain approves it, maybe they just say, okay, you're on your own, kid. Have fun.
Yeah. There's a similar thing that they do in acting for young actors that want to become independent and don't want to have a guardian on the set. Those actors go through a process called emancipation, which is basically saying I'm an adult, and those young children get emancipated. And when they do, then they have forfeit the rights of a child, essentially, of guardianship in certain aspects, and try to find themselves um, in an adult position really early. I would say that Wesley's being kind of commissioned to be on the crew as part of, you know, the crew, that makes him eligible for quarters. You're saving the lives of the crew, you're problem solving, you're in the mix for a lot of this stuff. So to me, whatever a crew member would get, regardless of whatever their stature
Mm-hmm.
is, whatever the basic level entry crew member quarters is, that he would be entitled to that.
He's also putting the lives of crew members at risk too, but we specifically in this
Well,
episode.
seriously, and that's the funny thing is, as soon as you give Wesley his own room, he
Yeah.
works on nanotechnology that could destroy the whole
And
thing.
just leaves
No,
the
I think
jar open. What does that even mean? That's what you do with your science projects? You just kind of leave things open, you go to sleep. I also thought it was funny that like he gets up, first of all, he oversleeps, but then he gets up and then goes straight to work. I'd be like, bro, we'll wait 4 minutes, take a shower, or go pee, have breakfast. I don't know, but you don't need to like wake up and then go straight in and like start already flying the ship. I'd be like, get some coffee in you. Like, I don't want you do something. Take
yeah,
15, but you don't need to come straight from sleep to flying a starship with 1,000 people on it.
yeah, I have to agree with that. I also think that, you know, the fact that he's falling asleep with, like, basically this technology that could essentially destroy everybody, that is the level of mischief that Dr.
Yeah.
Crusher is actually talking about. So it's actually, that's the irony there, right? She's saying you need to step out and do something more adventurous, and he's like, well, mom, I am kind of, about to destroy the whole ship. So that's pretty adventurous.
Yeah,
So that,
experiments.
I think there's an irony there. Yeah, there's an irony there.
Yeah, really, your
Mhm.
experiment shouldn't be jeopardizing the ship.
Yeah,
There's definitely a lot there as well. Hey, we got to jump
yeah.
to our quick break here. But when we get back, there's also a few other things that season 3 seemed to introduce. And we will talk about everything on the other side. We'll be right back on the seventh rule.